Good evening and welcome to another scene in the Desert, the Dark Crusade. Tonight we have a small meeting between two people, two members of the Clan of Shadows. In a nondescript house, not really made much of. It seems to have been, well, it's in need of a bit of polish, a bit of elbow grease to get, well, respectful again, but it is a functional enough place for a meeting like this, especially given the fact that Madeline has promised to show certain things to the young Lasombra who's going to meet her here. That is not really meant for mortals. She's here alone, but she just seems quite happy, quite relaxed, having just herself cleared a bit of a hurdle. Not one night past, well, last night. Will she regale the young Memnon of the tales of what happened? Who knows?
Memnon, for his part in his exertions from this previous evening, he has left himself somewhat overextended, tired. He is weary. Even tonight, as he's hunted, he was in want for a better catch. However, the pickings were slim, and he had to take only what he can to just sustain himself. But his current curiosities and the mysteries that he would indulge himself with, he is gravitating himself towards Sister Madeleine in a area within the town that seemed to have been the haven of a mysterious Canaanite that once resided in the city. He'll make his way there, and I suppose Memnon wouldn't probably knock the entrance door. He would let himself in, but he would be quiet and try to be as unnoticeable once going in. So, yeah, I don't know if Sister Madden wants to keep an eye out for it, or if she expects Memnon. But yeah,
Well, I'm assuming that they have agreed upon meeting here, so I would assume that they are. She is indeed expecting him.
So I suppose when he arrives in the house, he would look around, wouldn't necessarily yell out, "Oh, Madeline, are you there?" I'm not sure if Madeline's sitting in what might be the living room.
She's actually moving around a bit, just seeing whether this former ghoul, well, now ghoul again, I suppose, has kept this place. What he has done, has he actually done anything? Or was it just to get his fix, so to say? And then he has been just languid, waiting for the next bout of blood. But she is just, just looked around and seen that he's been doing a few things, which is to her liking. So she's somewhat happy with this. And she would just say, Memnon, please come in.
Sister Madeleine, you're looking well. Thank you for meeting me here.
Well, this is our little place, is it not?
That it is. And Memnon looks around. Not sure if I want to fix it up just for aesthetics pleasure, but I do like the rundown, grimy look. Has its own charm, little security to it.
While there is a certain importance in what appearances can do to one's own mind and to others, and that it is important to appear well for both one's enemies and one's friends. There is a certain rusticness that I would enjoy myself. Not for the look, but for the hope that it would keep me remembering where I come from. Keep me remembering not only to think of the Elysium and, well, the highest of places, but remember that the lowest of places can teach you perhaps even more than the halls of this or that king, prince.
Hmm. Those are very true words. I like working amongst the men, though someday I do want those men to work for me, knowing their strains, their pains, struggles. It lends a enlightenment to the inner workings of one's own machinations.
Hmm. Yes, I suppose. Now, how have you been doing these last? Well, it has been some days, well, some nights since I've seen you. I hope you are doing well.
Well, I still have my blood on the inside, even some others. So I suppose I am doing all right. There, well, I would hate to regale you with the story with Lady Irene not present. She deserves her own representation, but I believe we successful move that outsider.
Hmm.
We had introduced you to not too long ago, if you recall.
Nadim?
Ah, yes, Nadim. Memnon acting as if he already forgot the guy's name.
Hmm. He was playing a dangerous game, but I am assuming that he has been, why, that
Oh,
the game
he,
has perhaps caught up with him.
in a sense, he still walks the night, though we have liberated from him that which he claims as his. And through some diplomacy, in time to come, we will deliver him to the prince to answer for himself.
Hmm. I trust you and Irene.
Personally, Sister Madeline, I would have staked him and left him for the sun and be done with it. But I would be remiss if my compatriots thought their counsel went unheeded.
And My suggestion would be to at least hide such fervor, such determination in such situations until it is absolutely necessary. I would think that you have other courses of action open to you.
Yes, you are right. It wasn't personal motivations or the heat of battle. It was more a calculation,
Hmm.
one that seems to seem that the best sum would end with Nadim's life. But perhaps I'm wrong. I can live with that.
Why? For me, it is more a case of if you were to show your solution to the problem, that would put certain people on edge. Perhaps a bit more hesitant to deal with you in the future if they know that you are such a resolute man.
Hmm. Yes, I suppose such airs as one who is not open to negotiation would be a loss of business, profitable business.
Exactly. Of course, you must always follow your convictions. I will not dictate what you should do. If the day should come, I hope it will never come, that I would dictate something to you, well, I'm sure you would not be in doubt.
You do have wise counsel, Sister Madeleine. I
Hmm.
do appreciate it. So, we have in this house, if I recall, a certain causeway, a tunnel. It's yet to be explored. I think that's something we ought to handle. Maybe not perhaps ourselves at the moment, but some adventurous types might be looking for work. I'm
Hmm.
sure with proper equipment they could easily explore what lays beneath this house.
Well, I could. I should be able to make them forget if it turns out that there is something, well, that they should perhaps not see. Forget anything they saw, but yes, we should have someone to take care of. Was it traps or just shutty construction? I forget.
I believe the ghoul Gilead had said traps, if my memory serves me correct. We could always err on the side of caution.
Hmm. Well, would you brave it yourself? I wonder.
I would, if if I could see better in the dark. It
Hmm.
is something I'm trying to hone. Heard that there are gifts of the blood that do this, but
Well, you have already asked me of them. I
ah,
could. Oh, we spoke of this before. I could help you, teach you, begin to teach you of a ritual. It is tied to obtenegration. It allows me to embrace and see through the abyss with my own eyes, rendering most dark places in this world quite visible, as if I was seeing them in a brightly lit room. Nothing stays hidden, not in the dark.
Um, do you want to roll a peony against my subterfuge?
Sure, sure.
It's pretty good. It's very
Yeah,
good.
that's actually pretty good.
Jesus Christ, that's good. Okay, so bring your success down to just one. Um, as you're talking about the ritual, you may notice that there's a little bit of lack of surprise about about mentioning the abyss, Memnon. He listens intently, but like I said, it just seems that it doesn't come as a surprise to him.
Hmm. Alright, I can show you this. I can teach you of this practice. If this is something you desire, of course.
Do I would be more than honored to delve into this deeper mystery that our clan is, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say known for, but as a penchant for.
Well, I am, as you have probably heard, known for quite a few things around the city, but teaching my own clan, those outside of my clan, those even below my station, is perhaps what I am known most for. Most people would expect some sort of boon or payment, payment for these things. While it is rarely something I do, it does happen. But in this case, I shall teach you. You have proven yourself worthy. Very much so.
Thank you, Sister Madeleine. I continue to serve the clan. See it strive, thrive, and excel.
Very good. There is something I would ask, though.
And what is that?
Of one thing. What would be the one thing that sticks out in your mind that you have learned from your time as a slave? I wonder, if you were to say that there was one thing you learned above all.
Memnon thinks deeply about this. It's a very good question Madeleine's asking him. Perhaps not one that he really spent much time on before. He'll say, though, maybe like after a minute or two, he'll say, within the mind person, there is this gulf, this void, wherein one can take all that's good, all that is right in life, and without destroying it, just cast it into that abyss for the ability to strip someone of their humanity, of their dignity, treating them as nothing more than an animal. That is a place where such people go when they have to live with themselves. I almost can understand why we've lost our reflections. I'm sure my former masters avoided the mirrors as much as they could. I would be afraid if they didn't.
You mean to say that with hundreds of years of their exploits, you would be surprised that they could stand their own reflection?
Yes. And for them to still be considered men. I know what I am now, and I can see what it takes to become better, become more. But I do not have the same limitations or requirements or hungers as men. So their own spiritual darkness, a little bit different than our own spiritual darkness. Why? If I took a slave, I would not need to tell myself that God has made it just. I would do it because I wanted to.
Hmm. So many of these creatures, servants of God, they would say that it would be a noble thing to obey one's master when you were to take a slave. Hmm. You would take it because you think it is your right, or because you have the power over this person, because you are stronger.
No, like I said, if I wanted to, I would do it because I wanted to. If I can get the same effect without it, depending on the end, then I would have no need of a slave. But again, slave might serve just the right purpose. And if I wanted to take one, to even take on the challenge for what purpose a slave would serve, that would still be because of my want. I do not require justification of God or some idea of superiority. If I want it and I can take it, what else matters?
The lessons. What purpose is there? Would you teach this your property? Would you teach this person all of what you have learned to improve him, improve yourself? Or would you simply hold him in a position that he cannot or she cannot escape from?
Again, Memnon actually really thinks about this. I wanted to make the person suffer, just as my slave. Well, personally, I couldn't imagine what grievance they would give me that I would come to that end. I'd sooner cut their throat and just be done with them. However, teaching one to be better, be more, serve me better, well, I don't think I would make a slave out of them. No. No, I would rather them become my ally. My, even if a servant, though, a loyal servant, one whom can expect as much as out of me as their lord, as I of them, if they were my vassal.
A reasonable enough cause of action, I suppose. Why? You have satisfied my curiosity, at least for now. Well, I cannot say I've been a slave, per se. I have spent quite some time in a similar situation. Powerless. But it was not before I was embraced, and had been embraced for some time before I truly understood this world and how to empower myself and those around me. But please, come.
Memnon will follow you.
In one of the rooms that are where there is either no windows or like one window that has been boarded up, Madeline will sit down and she will begin to tell. She will begin to demonstrate certain uses of the very normal, very low versions of obtenebration, forming as sort of a ball or cloud of of well obtenebration, and essentially embracing it, seeing through it, and essentially it becoming one with your eyes. She'll begin to teach, and she'll begin to give pointers on this ritual that she has herself completed quite some years ago. This will take, well, this will take a while, 40 minutes, at least. Madeline will have suggestions to books to read, at least one or two. And yeah, without like, you can tell like, sure she's an Ancilla, but Madeline clearly is someone who reads books because it's well, it's the Middle Ages, but she does explain things not as layman as it could be. Right. It's a bit more academical approach. Well, academical as in as much as of an academical approach you could have in the Middle Ages, but it's clear that she also references books, so it's not as low practical as a lot are. And she does seem to know quite a few things about the subject in question.
Okay. I mean, Memnon, he wouldn't be writing this down, but he's paying attention to what you say. Like he has a dot in academics himself. He can read, a little shaky, but he's already covered like different like 4 different languages I have now. Languages. So yeah. He I suppose next what Memnon would simply ask is, and once I have accomplished this, this will give me the gift that You have that darkness in
Yes,
your eyes.
the abyss becomes one with your eyes. And when you do this, there is really no darkness in this world that you will not be able to see through. Of course, as you noticed, when I looked at this, when I when I used this ability, I made sure that no mortals were around. They will see it as, well, they will not be able to understand, but yes, it is simply to invoke the ritual once more. But once you have completed it, it will become easier in time. Much easier.
Perhaps, sister, there is a mask, a helm of some sort, visor. I could craft for you something wear in public, stylish, but moment's notice, should you need. It wouldn't be so obvious if you invoked your power, if it would interest you.
Let's say, for the sake of this, that the two are not sitting down at this moment. They've taken a moment of leisure, and Madeline will just approach him. She will get very, very close to him, and she seems somewhat serious. She looks at him. She goes closer to him and just says, "Would you suggest that I cover up my face? Would you not say that that would be against everyone's wishes?" And then her smile begins to crack, and she has a wolfish grin on her face.
Mhm.
There are those who would consider that a crime.
Memnon would just counter with, "I would only give advice in the purest of practical advantages for you, sister.
Hmm.
That is all."
Oh, I understand the notion. That would probably not be totally bad idea. An armored mask, perhaps. Although I tend to get quite a few tactical advantages if I show my face and my smile. At least to men.
Uh, Memnon would like grab his own chin. Yes, unfortunately, those are advantages I myself lack.
Hmm.
Aware of his appearance too.
Well, hmm. There are quite a few people. One of the men I have met quite a few men who are just as you, but stir much more than the most handsome, most fetching of knights cannot. Sincerity and an inner fire can do more to sway the hearts of any maiden. I am sure you can learn such things, if you do not know already. He smiles to him and changes. This is perhaps also things that I could teach you, although I perhaps do not see you as the man with the temperament for, well, candid and romantic conversations. You are a man of action. You should not waste time. But nonetheless, I could teach you.
I would gladly take your offer, and in return, put what skills and what I know, the best of my ability to provide for you anything that I could. Though I can't imagine that there must be much, but whatever I could offer you in return of knowledge, yes, I could do that for you too. You are right in your assessment. I'm not one for honeyed words. I like to arrive more to the point. However, it is not lost on me the importance or practical advantage, pleasantries, and, as you say, romantic conversations. They have their place in their time.
Hmm. Quite so. I am still teaching Torvald some of these things, but he is, well, has quite the motivation to learn.
That's good. He does seem as an honorable student. I would assume, though I do not presume the nature of your relationship with Thorvald.
Hmm. There's not much to presume. It is quite obvious what we are to each other. It is not all of us who engage in such things. I know that some, well, if not outright avoid it, some are just not. Some are even perhaps disgusted by it. I believe it is still a part of us, a part of existence, part of life. Perhaps not even that of being human, something more basic. Whatever the case, the two of us are lovers.
Oh, Sister Madeline. Like I said about a slave, it's something that I wanted to do. Who needs anything more than the justification for desire? It is that primordial hunger that cuts through all the notions of civility, dogma. The heart wants what it wants, whether it beats or not.
Quite so. Our clan, our clan is truly fortunate to have someone so young and yet so very wise as you here. This pleases me greatly.
Um, Memnon doesn't betray a smile, but he gives you like a nod that just confirms that increase.
Hmm.
um, uh, but yes. So, Mister, what should we do when it comes to our little bookworm? As you seem to be such a wealth of knowledge, I too hunger for knowledge. It would be nice if we had some repository on hand for knowledge. And you see that Memnon kind of looks around the worm.
Hmm. You would begin to move books here? Is that what you are suggesting?
Well, books that do not need to be kept too safe, but simple things on hands, references, sources, more mundane interests. Although, I do suppose if you and I shared a language very few others spoke, that would help us encrypt out of character. I'm not even sure if that word exists in this time period, but that's what I'm getting at. Um, it could help us encrypt an exchange of knowledge if it needed to be written down.
Hmm. Is there a language you think of in specifically?
There is my native tongue. Nadim was the only other person I've seen since I've been here that spoke it. I haven't noticed many of my fellow countrymen that come and go.
Well, then you would be my teacher.
You see a little satisfied smile on Memnon's face, just ever so slightly.
I would very much look forward to that. It seems that the lessons, the teachings are not done for today.
No. Memnon would actually look around to see if there is any pen or paper. I don't know if there would be in here, but I don't know. Yeah. Memnon would he'd give you a brief outline of how Soninki, I'll spell it for you in the chat, is structured. Gives you a little overview of like the history of it. It might be kind of taking you off the beaten track. But yeah, he'll start you off with like some of like the first basic phrases and like how the actual structure of how you want to start conceiving your words in this way. Um, I would think he would try to spend like a good, if Madeline would allow it, he'd probably spend like a good hour with you, kind of
Oh, she
going over.
would. You will notice that she is quite absolved by this. Um, she seems to be very much into this, and seems to be taking almost all of her attention, as much as she's able. As much as she's able to, she will focus all of her attention to this, learning and being taught by you. Maybe just being taught or teaching in general. Like you also saw it before. Like the sign, there is a bit of a focus to her when she is in this situation. She seems to take this quite serious, and even though that she is an ancilla, just there's like not a reference, but almost towards you. Like she seems to be very happy that you're teaching her.
Good, good. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Geez, I wish in the future we could know what's going to happen with this place. I'd love to set it up as like a little. I don't want to say a school, but just a study. But yeah. Yes, Memnon would. You probably notice that Memnon is like way more. He's definitely focused on making sure that what he's getting across is clear. So he may not know to pick up what Madeline, that focus, but it's not that he's disregarding her. It's more he's, like in his third eye, kind of just like trying to imagine. Because for Memnon, you're pretty much the first person he's teaching how to speak this language. So, yeah, he's getting a little bit more creative with it. So I think like what Memnon would like definitely try to do is try to like start getting you used to um, some of the key words that you get that you as Lasombra throw around. So he'll like name he'll throw out the words that convey darkness and shadow and shade and all those kind of things in the umbrella of the tenebrous speak,
Hmm.
if you will, you know. This way, you know, you kind of like you can try to start conceiving your sentences based around these things, and as you keep remembering the word and so yes, it might take you some time, but I will make sure that I have time for you, Sister Madeline. It is a language that, well, if you're taught from youth, it is much easier to grab. It is not quite like the tongues of Europe here in the East, but I have no doubt that it will only be a little time for you, one who has such brilliant acumen as yourself.
If a challenge was easy, I would not undertake it.
So, yeah, um, I guess we gotta wait for an ST to get into that maze or whatever's down there.
Yeah,
So,
the two will, after quite some time, um, Madeline will, at one point, just say, "Well, I do believe I have to leave quite soon. Other matters require my attention, but it has been a very good evening. I am quite happy that we can teach each other, and I do believe that we can teach each other much more in the future."
I hope so, Sister Madeline. Would you need an escort back home?
Oh no, that will not be required.
Very well. Well then, I he'll say he'll give you a phrase that says goodbye, but he'll also explain like it's not quite a literal apple to apple translation of goodbye, but just the concept.
Hmm. And she will try her best to repeat the statement back.
Okay. Yeah, Memnon would give you a polite nod, like you got it. All right. So yes, I believe that's where we'll end the scene. And thank you, watchers, for watching, and the players for playing. We'll see you again.